Honorable Governor of Kerala, Shri Rajendra Arlekarji, I was stunned when a call came from him after I had written those 2 articles on Operation Sindoor. With my limited understanding of what the subject means, that he wants me to come and give a lecture here, it showed that how meticulously he has been following affairs. And in these days, when reading of newspapers has crashed after the television medium and social media has come, that there are still statesmen who will read articles, and my articles are not short articles. These articles went around 4,200 words, something which is very uncommon these days. In those days, it used to be very common. And Shri Lodawat, the Additional Chief Secretary to the Governor, and Mr. Hari Karta, who introduced me quite generously and excessively. When you are introduced so profusely and excessively, a bar is set, an expectation is created, and I have to cross it to make you understand that what is stated is not absolutely untrue. See, Operation Sindoor is something which has to be properly positioned intellectually, militarily, historically, and socially. This cannot be dismissed as a news or as an event or as a counter-terror measure. You have to have a helicopter view to understand how Operation Sindoor became necessary and how it is a reaction and a response and the will of a nation that should put not only Pakistan but the world on notice as to what India has become. So, we have to see how Operation Sindoor originated. It originated in Pahalgam. There have been terrorist attacks. There have been mass killings, starting with Pakistan giving up war as a means to deal with India because they have been failing in all the wars. 1947, 1965, 1971, 1999. In all the wars, Pakistan was defeated. They thought the best way to deal with India is not war, but to bleed India, as they used to say in their language, by 1,000 cuts. Bleed India to death in stages. And for which they created a jihadi army, about which I will go into later. But Pahalgam stood out as the most barbaric assault in recent times or in the history of Indo-Pakistan fights. First, the victims were asked which religion you belong to. It is not something which should be dismissed as an event that happened on 22nd April. It is a continuity of a history. Unfortunately, Pakistan is arrested by history. India has moved beyond history. We have kept history behind because history is something which should teach us. It should not continue. If history continues, pursues, if historical feelings and the hate and enmity, that history is bound to teach us, then you are arrested by history, you are part of the history, and you don't move to the future. This is where Pakistan was born in hate, is what we must understand. And Pakistan must also understand that. Yes, hatred created Pakistan. We understand that. They also must understand. But we should give up the hate is what they did not understand. But we have moved beyond. Christopher Jefferley, one of the most famous French writers, who was not a great admirer of India, he wrote that the only content of the nationalism of Pakistan is hate India. If hatred of India is not there, Pakistan will not be a nation itself. So, it is not only he. There was one professor, Syed Ali Raza Nazar of Tufts University, he is a Pakistani. He also said, minus the hatred of India, Pakistan will not exist as a nation. That means you are carrying history. And history is not carried merely by a political discourse. It is carried in history textbooks. It is carried in missile names. See the names Pakistan has given for its missiles. Abdali, Ghauri, Babar, Ghaznavi. These are all the names of the missiles. Pakistan is not going to use these missiles against any other country. It has no other enemy in the world except Bharat. See the names that they are using to remind their people. What should be their psychological attitude to India? Unless we take a helicopter view and understand what Pakistan's psyche is, ideologies, theologies, DNA is, we will not be able to position Pahalgam or the response to Pahalgam. And if you look at Pakistan, both of us started on the same day. We got freedom on the same day, virtually. But we had a Constituent Assembly, we framed the Constitution in 1950, we adopted it, we have moved ahead. Many of us do not know that Pakistan could not frame a constitution and they could not even put together a Constituent Assembly, and anyone who attempted to put the Constituent Assembly was assassinated. Liaquat Ali Khan, the first Prime Minister of Pakistan, he was assassinated because he entered into a deal with Pandit Nehru. It is called the famous Nehru-Liaquat Pact. He was shot. And the whole country trembled, and a Constituent Assembly, some kind of it functioned in 1958. They came out with a constitution. But before the constitution could be implemented, Sikandar Mirza, who was the president, he abolished the Constituent Assembly, threw away the constitution, proclaimed martial order, and appointed Ayub Khan as the martial law administrator. Within 1 month, Ayub Khan sacked Sikandar Mirza, who had to run away from the country. They could not frame a constitution. Ayub Khan functioned as the dictator for the next 15 years. In 1971, they lost the war with India. It is actually a war between East Pakistan and West Pakistan. It was not a war with India. They could not tolerate East Pakistan, which did not want Urdu language. That's all. There was no difference. And because they were speaking Bengali language, in spite of the fact they were 55 to 60% of the population, the resources that they got was only 35%. That is how East Pakistan and West Pakistan began fighting each other. So, they lost, not only East Pakistan and Bangladesh was created, they also lost the war, and as a result, they came to the conclusion that we are doing something wrong, and then framed a constitution, some kind of a constitution. It was not a Constituent Assembly deliberating for 3 years. It is just some political parties coming together and writing a piece of paper, and that is the Constitution of Pakistan today. In 1972, the Constitution came, Bhutto became the President and the Prime Minister. And in 1978, Zia-ul Haq seized power, sacked Bhutto, and hanged him. See, Sikandar Liaquat Khan was assassinated in 1951, Bhutto in 1979. Zia, who seized power in 1978, was himself assassinated in 1988. Benazir Bhutto, who became the chief prime minister, was assassinated, and Imran Khan was almost assassinated in the year 2022. This is the political history, democratic political history of Pakistan. You look at how Pakistan was ruled by army for 34 years, directly. Between 1958 and 71, 77 to 88, 99 to 2008, 34 years. And rest of the years, the army indirectly ruled. Unless we know the relationship between army and Pakistan polity, we will not be able to understand what kind of adversary we are dealing with. In fact, in diplomatic circles, it is quipped that every country has an army. But Pakistan army has a country which is Pakistan. Without army, nothing will move. Army is the deity in Pakistan. Army is the deity, means army people, army general, army system. And what it has resulted in, I want to show it to you. The Bloomberg wrote an article on 11th November 2001. Pakistan Army Incorporated. Pakistan Army is not a professional army like the Indian Army or American Army or any civilized nation's army. Pakistan Army is a huge commercial enterprise. The Soldiers Foundation, the Fauji Foundation, has cement factories, ordnance factories, retail stores, iron and steel. Mention any industry. It owns a huge commercial enterprise. And it is responsible to take care of the army people, retired army people, till they die. And the retired army people and the existing army people manage all this. You know what is the market capitalization of Karachi Stock Exchange? $43 billion. Out of which $71 billion of market capitalization is represented by companies run by Soldiers Foundation. Pakistan Army controls 71% of Pakistan's market capitalization. That is the extent to which Pakistan's economy, Pakistan's business, Pakistan's polity are intermingled with the army. And politicians are merely prisoners who can't do a damn. They are what the army says they have to do. If they do something else, the army will directly intervene. This is a military country. We must understand we are dealing with a military country, a militarized mind. And on top of it, when Zia came to power, he Islamized Pakistan. And unfortunately, the Western powers, in their attempt to overcome the Russian power in Afghanistan, made Pakistan create jihadis to fight Russia in Afghanistan. The West was very happy about it because they did not have to pay. There are people willing to die to kill others. And Afghanistan war was the starting point of the collapse of Russia. The West was very happy. And Pakistan was extremely mightily pleased. How many of us know it is from Pakistan in Karachi, from Karachi airport, Kissinger traveled in the dead of night on a secret mission to China and negotiated a deal with China to break away from Russia. And that broke the Cold War. and destroyed communism in 10 years. And Pakistan became the apple of the eye of Americans. Their money, all that went into Pakistan, got into Pakistan army, and Pakistan army became the richest. And that is represented by 71% market capitalization, which means $30 billion is the amount of liquid resources that Pakistan army commands. If there is Lashkar Taiba, if there is Jaish-e-Mohammed, if there is any other terror organizations, Pakistan's budget need not fund them. It is funded by the Soldiers Foundation, which controls $30 billion of market capitalization of Pakistan. Nowhere in the world, no other army people are entitled to just pension. They are supposed to work for the country. But here is a country where an army owns the country, an army owns the economy, army owns the market capitalization, and army owns nearly 20 to 30,000 jihadis raised in the nurseries of Pakistan. And there is a book which was released by Pakistan writers after Musharraf took over in 1999, which is one of the finest books which the Indians must read. How a Barelvi Pakistan was turned into a Devbandi Pakistan, and how terror became the rule of law, and people could walk with guns in their hands. This impacted on India. So they wanted to kill India by 1,000 cuts. I was very much involved in the politics in those days. I don't think many would be aware of it. I was very closely associated with the transition and how the Congress was defeated in 1989 and VP Singh came to power. VP Singh came to power as Prime Minister on the 2nd of December, 1989. Mufti Muhammad Syed was the Home Minister. This was on the 2nd of December. On the 9th of December, Mufti Muhammad Syed's daughter is kidnapped by terrorists. The Home Minister of India, his daughter was kidnapped. I was desperate to send a message to Mr. VP Singh. In those days, there was no cell phone. I told him, before you make a deal with the terrorists to get that lady released, ask the Home Minister to resign. And after the deal is over, let him become the Home Minister again. But this message could not reach. So the ignominy of the Indian government negotiating with the terrorists, with the Home Minister of India negotiating for the release of his daughter, and that set many, many terrorists free. You can understand what was the state of India at that time, its psychology, and how the Kashmiris would have felt that here is a group of people who can shake the Home Minister by kidnapping his own daughter. I was a personal eyewitness to what was happening at that time, a helpless state, a meaningless state, an important state. And by 1990, virtually Srinagar was out of control. They had taken over Srinagar. We had to wage a rearguard war. That is how terrorism took root in Kashmir, and as a result, Pakistan army, you see, terrorism is not something which grew on its own. It was propped up, it was funded, it was inspired. Pakistan army people were transferred and put into charge of specific organizations, and even now, the Pahalgam attacker was an ex-Pakistan army commando. So there was, jihadis were moving into army people were turning into jihadis. This is all openly known. With the result, from 2005 to 2007, at least 15,000 people were killed. In 2008, in front of the whole world over television, which was televised. 48 hours of terror on Bombay. We all saw. The government also saw. The government appealed for peace. And our Prime Minister and the National Security Advisor and the Home Minister were promoting candlelight processions for peace and harmony. For whose peace and harmony? You can understand how our army was humiliated in front of the world. What is the damn army for? If they cannot protect their own people from being killed on the television screen, slaughtered, the army hanged its head in shame. That was 2008. That is why I wrote in my article that a candlelight bearing India in Operation Sindoor attacked the terrorists at their source, in their homes, in their mansions, through BrahMos. How this transformation occurred is what we have to understand. This didn't come by a magic wand. So, how it was transformed? I told you about Pakistan. India is a very different country. You know, Pakistan has a theology. We have a philosophy. Theology is only what I believe is right, my God is right, other gods are wrong, my way of life is right, other ways are wrong. This is theology. This becomes political ideology. That is what Muslim League propped up. And it has been a disaster for Pakistan, it has been a disaster for Bangladesh, but not a disaster for India. We have more Muslim population than Pakistan. We have more Muslim population than Bangladesh. Our Muslim population is only less than Indonesia's. But we live in peace with them. We have problems. Problems do not mean that we can't live together. India has demonstrated it, not only demonstrated, it has moved away from history because it is philosophy. You know what is philosophy? Nobody who was a philosopher, who was a historian, who was a sociologist, who was an intellectual, brought about the distinction between philosophy and ideology. It is Bill Clinton, who in 2000, I was surprised that a political leader who was not greatly known for his intellectual capacities, like Lincoln or anybody, he said, we are now caught in the grip of ideology, which says only I am right, you are wrong. We have to move to philosophy, which means I am right and maybe you are also right. This is what informs the Indian civilization for thousands and thousands of years. We have been able to avoid quarrels, fights, bloodsheds. And I will give you a story. A proof, research was done by Professor R.J. Ramal of Hawaii University. It's all available on the net. That is, Democide, Power Kills, is the title of the website. Everyone after this meeting is over, go and click and see that website. In that website, he has captured the mass slaughter, bloodletting that had happened in the world from the 5th century before the Common Era and 20th century. For 2,500 years, he has captured in research places where it happened, who killed whom, how many people were killed. He has put it on the site. He says till the 13th century, everywhere, 680 million people to 1.2 billion people had been slaughtered in the world by human action against human beings. He says the only geography in which there was no mass killing till the 13th century was India, Bharat. How is it that we did not kill each other? The only exception is Emperor Ashoka's Kalinga War. we believed that the other man can also be right. I don't know how many of you have read History of Kerala by Padmanabha Menon. Sir, you get the 100 copies and give to our intellectuals in Kerala. Padmanabha Menon had written about the war model of India and of the Zamori kings. When Portuguese attacked the Zamori kings, the Zamori king wrote a letter to Portuguese. Gentlemen, simply because you have a large army and I have a large army, we need not clash. But even in clashing, we have a model. We will beat the drum in the morning to say we are ready for war. If you beat the drum, we will attack you. In the evening, if you beat the drum, we will stop the war. There should be no night fight. We should not fight where the people are. There is a large playground outside and there are lakes on both sides. You can perch your army there. I can perch my army here. Then the Portuguese said, is he asking for war or sports? Even in war, we were not violent. Even in war. The Zamori king model is, which must be taught in every school and college in Kerala, that they say, we have 20,000 people, please. Send the best 100 of your fighters. We will send 100 of our fighters, let them fight. If one loses, maybe at that point we may call off the war. Next you send 200 of your people. We will send 200 of our people. Have you ever seen a more noble war model? This is India. This is there in Mahabharata. This was the war model adopted by Prithviraj Chauhan against Muhammad Ghori. Simply because the opponent is defeated, he should not be killed. He let him off 17 times because the defeated king should not be killed. This is India. So we had another view of life. Because of that, we may have lost, but we did not become violent. And so, we are a democracy. We have an army which serves the nation, which does not own the nation. Pakistan army owns the nation, doesn't serve the nation, doesn't serve the people. It only targets the enemies. It has covert warfare. But we have an army which serves the people humbly, for salaries, for pension, and for higher feeling of patriotism. This is the difference between the two countries. But we lost heavily because we did not understand the psychology of India. So, how this transformation took place? I'll give you two examples as to how peace with Pakistan, as Pakistan is constituted, is a disaster. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, when he became the Prime Minister, he went in a bus to Lahore. His Lahore bus trip became a very important event. That was in February 1999. The result was that in 1999 May, within 3 months of Lahore bus travel, Pakistan launched assault on the Kargil hills and captured it without Pakistan army led by Musharraf, without the knowledge of the Prime Minister of Pakistan. The Prime Minister of Pakistan did not know. War has been waged and they have taken over the Kargil hills. 2,500 people died on both sides. 3 months before Lahore raid, 3 months after Kargil war, the same thing happened to Modi. He attended Musharraf's daughter's wedding on the 25th of December 2015. On the 2nd of January, within 7 days, attack took place on our army in Pathankot. 26 army people were killed. Then Narendra Modi realized that it happened to Vajpayee, it happened to me. Peace with Pakistan is not possible as Pakistan is constituted. We have to have a very different way of dealing with Pakistan. So he set out to a war model that first, he said, if you attack me, I will attack you. So, when Uri attack took place, in 2016, our army people went inside and we killed terrorists. The number of terrorists killed were estimated at 70. None of our people were lost and we came back. But this was going inside, crossing the line of control and going inside, which can be a war. It's a provocation. It can be an escalation. The same thing happened in 2019 in Balkot. When they attacked us, the terrorists attacked, we sent our aircrafts to strike at the terrorists, and the Balkot terror was supposed to have killed 250 to 300 people. At that time, only Pakistan called the nuclear power group. They said, we will bomb you. He said, hell with you. Every time there is a war between India and Pakistan or a move towards a war between India and Pakistan, Pakistan will say, we will move the nuclear thing. Then the Western powers will come and say, no, 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 don't do it. This has become a nuclear drama. This happened in 2019. But things have moved so fast, so different. I am going to relate to you how all this happened is not just because of military preparations, but there is a larger picture which I have to present before you as to how this happened. Then Narendra Modi decided that you must attack the terrorists without crossing the boundary. This is a new type of warfare. Of course, Israelis, who are the terror busters, they technologically improved and made this warfare possible. But their attack is merciless. They will attack the civilians, they will attack anybody. Because Israel is a small country, there are 20 countries surrounding them to kill them, and so their war model is as barbaric as the war model of those who oppose Israel. Israel's war model is equally barbaric. We cannot do that. Our psyche will not permit it. Our people will not permit it. Our philosophy will not permit it. So we need a technological model, a technologically driven model, where we will not cross the boundary. We will hit them. We will hit the very building where the terrorists are. This is the most important thing. And the buildings of the terrorists, the mansions are in crowded areas. The same thing happened when Pakistan gave asylum to Osama bin Laden. America realized what Pakistan is only when Osama bin Laden was given an asylum by Pakistan. What is the problem between Pakistan and Afghanistan today? Afghanistan is a very illiterate country. It doesn't know global politics. And Osama bin Laden was planted on Afghanistan by Pakistan, and he hit America. America virtually destroyed Afghanistan. That is the point of dispute between Pakistan and Afghanistan, that we are innocent. You put this damn man on our head and destroy our country. With the result, Afghanistan refused to give asylum to bin Laden, who was given asylum by Pakistan. Inside Pakistan, surrounded by Pakistan army. Americans knew it because Pakistanis themselves gave information about it, and they came and hit. Then America understood that Pakistan is not a nation. It is a nation owned by an army. So, we had to have that accurate information which America had. And we developed the concept of non-contact warfare. When I mentioned this in the Republic TV interview, the lady who interviewed me, he said, I have not heard this word non-contact warfare. It's very unfortunate that in the entire discourse on Operation Sindoor, this word is missing. You know where I got this word from? It's amazing. I got it from Pakistan Defense website. I am going to read out to you. What is non-contact warfare? and how Modi put India on the non-contact warfare ladder. Very, very important. Not only for Operation Sindoor, for any kind of counter-terror operation where Pakistan cannot match India. This is what Pakistan Defense website, 8th July 2020. I picked it up from Pakistan government's website. It said about India climbing on to non-contact warfare. It described the induction of long-range missiles, high-precision smart weapons, satellite, then unmanned systems, robots, satellites primarily driven by technology aimed at achieving a quick, decisive victory by remote delivery. This is the most important thing. Of destructive kinetic energy is non-contact warfare. I have not come across any Indian media or specialists talking about non-contact warfare. The Pakistani site went on to say, the concept has recently gained currency within the Indian strategic community, and added that ball-code strikes and surgical strikes pointing to strong desire to gaining psychological ascendancy without suffering casualties, simultaneously avoiding escalation of violence. As recently as January 2015, they are writing in 2020, and say as recently as 2015. So you can understand Pakistan government's idea of what is recent. It is 5 years before. Indian Army Chief reiterated that non-contact warfare is important and is a major consideration in the planned restructuring of the Indian Army. We began doing it in 2015. So, Operation Sindoor, which happened in 2025, the preparation started in 2015, and in its post in 2020, Pakistan government's website mentioned this. Once we knew that we have to go and hit them in their territory, either by air or by army being sent there, we are inviting them for a war. And internationally, if you cross the boundary, then it is a declaration of war. So twice we did it, 2016, 2019. Narendra Modi decided that we should not do it in future. We have to hit from our territory, even if 250 kilometers away there is a terror base, we should be able to hit. Developed the technologies, acquired Rafale, acquired missiles, and developed what is known as kamikaze rowing equipment, rowing missiles. And they will go and search. You give the address, note the address and give this particular address in this road. You have to go and hit. It will go search and hit. This technology we had developed, but we could not use it in Kargil because the satellites were controlled by Americans, and Americans stopped the satellites from enabling us to use it for our information. India launched satellites after satellites to ensure that our army will be able to operate on the basis of information which the enemy will not know, enemy need not know, enemy will not assist. That's how we had completely prepared. When the Prime Minister declared after the Pahalgam attack that we will chase them wherever they are, to the ends, and hit them, it was not an empty threat. He had already prepared India for that. Rafale, Scalp missile from France, Hammer missile from United Kingdom, Heron unmanned vehicles, unmanned aerial vehicles from Israel, Herod drones, kamikaze drones developed in Bangalore. This was what was used on the 6th and 7th night to demolish 9 of the well-protected terror camps. And the terrorists died, Pakistan itself proved, by attending their funeral. Army leaders attended the funeral of terrorists declared as global terrorists. It is no more a secret relationship. It's a proven, established, admitted, exposed, shameless relationship between the army and the terrorists. You know, we are going to move the United Nations Security Council anti-terror body to say that Pakistan should be declared as a terrorist nation. So long they have been hiding behind, no, we don't know, we are also a victim of terror. And during the UPA period, Manmohan Singh, unfortunately, I would put it even shamelessly, declared Pakistan is not a purveyor of terror but a victim of terror. Can there be a greater certificate to Pakistan which generates terror? Uses it as a state policy against a nation which has done nothing against it. From there, our national psyche has been shifted. And in the next day, 7th and 8th, when Pakistan began sending, they were supposed to have sent more than 1,000 drones. And every drone, every missile was shot because of our air defense was several layered. S-400, which we got from Russia, can go and hit any missile which starts there 400 kilometers. It can go and hit. It can virtually cross the entire Pakistan. And then ground and Akash missiles. Up to 30 kilometers, any missile is sighted, it will hit. Then ground-to-air missile, air-to-air missile, and air-to-ground missiles. We did not allow one missile. And they targeted the Golden Temple to say that India destroyed Golden Temple and that would have created bloodshed because no one will know who hit it. We were able to protect the Golden Temple, our army. You must see the kind of work the army had to do. It is not that army was protecting itself. It was protecting temples. It was protecting churches. You know, a church and a convent was hit in Kashmir and 2 students died. So they wanted non-war targets to create civil war in India. So you can understand the multiplicity of challenge the army faced. It is not that the army will hit only the army. Pakistan began hitting at random, targeting. And so, our air defense was so tight, it was 4-layered air defense. It was beautifully described in many of the TV programs. I don't know whether you had occasion to see. I want you to see it. And finally, on the 8th and 9th, we sent our BrahMos missiles and demolished their air defense completely and even hit their nuclear, where the nuclear control system is there. That's where Pakistan, at 9:30 in the morning on the 10th, the Pakistan DGMO, Director General of Military Operations, called our DGMO. Our DGMO was not there, he was busy. Then at 3 o'clock, they connected to each other and Pakistan said that we want to end hostilities. Many people ask, in fact, because as a chairman of the Vivekananda International Foundation, which is probably the most prominent strategic think tank in India, with an Indian mind, Indian funded, we have refused to accept foreign donation. It was started by Ajit Doval and me. It is regarded as the most independent and courageous think tanks in India, and I head it. So we had several rounds of discussions. And as the chairman of the Vivekananda International Foundation, I had come to know the intimate happenings about this entire war. And I can tell you, not a single loss to India. 5 soldiers we lost. Obviously, in a war we will lose. And 30 civilians were killed. We can't protect all the civilians. If the army, Pakistan army targets the civilians. But we could protect many. But we can't protect everybody. That's why 30 civilians died on the first day. Afterwards, they could not. Because we never thought they would hit the civilian targets. And once we know they will hit the civilian targets, we protected the civilian targets also. You must understand 1,500 kilometers of border area where anybody, Pakistan will throw their missiles and drones on civilians. In the entire area, you need air cover, air defense cover. Indian Army and Indian Air Force provided it. The role that Navy played, no one knew. When we moved the Navy to Karachi, Pakistan virtually felt defenseless because we would have finished the entire Pakistan with our naval missile power. So it was contained like this. With the result, questions arose in Vivekananda International Foundation. Why in India, why Indian Army, which had such advantageous position, agreed to the ceasefire? You know, only military technologies will know, strategies will know. Every war has a end game. In 1971, we had the end game of making Bangladesh free. And in 1965, Pakistan had the end game of humiliating India because India virtually had two NAT fighters and they had Sabre jets and they had Patton tanks. They wanted to humiliate India, but they got humiliated. In 1999, they got hold of the Kargil height from which they could shoot anybody, army, people. And we had to reconquer Kargil, which we did. Not only we reconquered our part of Kargil, we also conquered their part of Kargil, and even now we have not vacated it. Pakistan is begging. This is called end game of war. In this war, there cannot be an end game because our end game was over on the first day. We wanted to hit the terrorists, we hit them, the matter is over. To continue the war would be a purposeless affair. That is why our army accepted this whole thing. I want to say 4 great things that happened, which made Operation Sindoor possible. Without 2 equipments, high power, very costly, very contested equipments, India could never have taken on this responsibility of hitting the terrorists without crossing the boundary. One was the Rafale aircraft. The next is a S-20 air defense system from Russia. If you acquire air defense system from Russia, Trump said, we will impose sanctions on you. We have a law. I still remember Narendra Modi instructed Nirmala Sitharaman to say in Washington that this is your law and not the United Nations law. Imagine he shared the best relationship with the US President. He said, hell with you, I will acquire this S-400. Be acquired. America had to come to terms with us. It's a psychological war. Eyeball to eyeball war. Who blinks first is the issue. We didn't blink. America blinked. With the result, S-400 ensured that no Pakistan missile would cross into India and it would be hit as it is launched. Second is the Rafale aircraft. Rafale aircraft is a gem of an aircraft. It can throw missiles, it can throw bombs, it can throw even atom bombs. And to stop India from acquiring Rafale, the entire opposition charged corruption, this, that. If the Supreme Court had not intervened and stopped this nonsense, we would not have acquired the Rafale and we would not have been able to hit Pakistan terrorists. Here the Prime Minister risked the ministry, there was a conspiracy to get the CBI to file an FIR against the Prime Minister before the 2019 elections. He said, hell with you. And he took the decision to buy Rafale. Many secret acquisitions were made which were not above the surface. And the most important thing, he went on the Atmanirbharta program. I have seen the opposition leader saying that Make in India ho hi nahi sakta. This Make in India is a fake slogan. Today, in 2014, 32% of the defense equipments were manufactured in India. Today it is 88%. And the most important thing is the kamikaze drones which go and search. You know where it was developed? It was developed in India. Not only that, by 2030, the global drone market is supposed to be around will become about 120 billion. And India will have a 10% share in it. Over and above our requirements, we will be exporting such high-value technological drones because of our engineers who are involved in this task. And before I end, I must congratulate George Fernandez, who should get all the credit for the Akash missile, a cheap, a very effective equipment which blasted Pakistan's missiles as they crossed and were about to hit India. In 30 kilometers, they were all smashed. The most important thing is, in the world, why strategic thinkers, army people, leaders look at India with awe is because Israel is known as the leading terror buster. But Israel was not facing a nuclear power. It was not having any nuclear threat. India is Israel plus. We were able to call the bluff of nuclear threat by Pakistan. George Fernandez said, that holds good even today. If you throw one bomb on India, to throw the next bomb, there will be no Pakistan. You know, it is not that we would like to, but we should be prepared. That is why we have police, we have army, because in every society there will be wrong people. They should not hold the society at ransom. In the same way, there will be rogue nations. They should not hold the other nations to ransom. Our preparation is not about Pakistan, which is a small pet. And I want to say how two factors helped India. One is the rise of Modi himself. When he became the Prime Minister in 2014, many countries had refused visas for him. The man was not wanted. He had trust deficit of the world. You see what he did. Anybody would engage some PR agency to go and say, Narendra Modi is a good man, he has done this, who has done this. But he did it himself. He stormed 73 countries in 10 years. As of May 2000, and Israel, which was regarded as a geopolitical untouchable, nobody went to Israel. He went to Israel. And he built a very powerful techno-economic relationship with them that made this kamikaze roving equipment possible. And he visited Australia 29 years after the last Prime Minister Indira Gandhi visited. And as of May 2025, he had visited 41 countries once, 14 countries twice. The UK, Saudi Arabia included 8 countries thrice, Sri Lanka 4 times, 3 countries including China 5 times, Germany 6 times, Japan, Russia, UAE 7 times, France 8 times, US 10 times. You know what is the consequence of it? Every world leader began praising him. Australian Prime Minister who got elected, no, Albanese, he said he's my boss. The Italian Prime Minister Meloni said he is the most admired leader of the world. The man who was not wanted in 2014. And Trump said he's a killer in negotiations. And Putin said no one will defend national interests like Mr. Modi, even in an impossible situation. And the British Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, said that whenever I see him, my energy level goes up. Modi was conferred highest civilian award, our Bharat Ratna kind of awards in 21 countries, and 5 of them Muslim countries. That is Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan, UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait, and Egypt. He transformed himself. With the result, the Morning Consult, which is the foremost American consulting agency, which grades the global leaders, from 2019 till today, it has come out with its quarterly survey, has said he is the most admired leader in the world. Do you mean to say 2016, 2019, and now Operation Sindoor would have been possible with a lesser Modi? Impossible. And the rise of India. When he came to power, there were 2 deficits. One, he himself was a deficit. Second was, India was regarded as 5 fragile economies, shaking to collapse. From that, he transformed the Indian economy from being 5 fragile economies into 4 among the 4 strongest economies in the world. And in this period, Pakistan crashes. Pakistan and India had the same GDP in 1960. Today, India's GDP is 10 times more than Pakistan. 10 times. Our foreign exchange reserve is $690 billion. Pakistan's foreign exchange reserve is $9 billion. Borrowed from IMF. The shift in the global stature of Modi and the rise of India, coupled with the enormous amount of ground level work, you must understand the kind of intelligence provided by our intelligence system, that your missile will go and land in the very place where the terrorists live. It's no mean achievement. We have excelled Israel. We have shocked America. What are the takeaways? There are 10 takeaways. We avenged Pahalgam without crossing the border, which we had to do in 2016 and 2019. Pakistan's war machine was blunted. India destroyed their air defense. Pakistan had to come for peace. And we declared our policy. So long our policy on terror was not clear. We said, if you hit us, it's a war. You have to be prepared for a war. If LET hits India, if JEM hits India, it's a war. So you have to control your people unless you want war. Pakistan is proved to be terroristan by Pakistan's army people, generals attending terrorist funeral. They are not terrorists only about us. They are internationally declared terrorists. Then Prime Minister declared very clearly our policy. Terror and talk cannot go together. Terror and trade cannot go together. Very major declaration. Then come to what Pakistan lost, almost permanently. They had 80% of Indus River water flowing to them. Because at that time we did not know the necessity of water. How water is a great boon for a country. So we said the western rivers you take, eastern rivers we take. Western rivers means 80%, eastern rivers means 20%. Meaninglessly. There was no work done as to whether Pakistan needs that kind of water or not. So we said that's over. Now Pakistan is appealing for water. Modi has said very clearly, blood and water cannot flow together. Finally, the nuclear bluff has been called once and for all. And finally, Modi told Pakistan that unless you give up terror, what you have created, that Bhasmasura will kill you. Please give it up. Thank you very much.